Hola, bonjour, and hello, everybody. You are listening to Worldwide Tea, the podcast where every single week we cover all of the international seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race, and you can tell we cover them because this week it is the Worldwide Tea Awards. It's the end of 2025, and we are here to count down our favorite moments, our favorite looks, and everything that happened with Drag Race in 2025. As always, I am Evan Sawdey from Pop Matters.
I'm Gregory Ellwood from the playlist. Evan, how are you doing on this Sunday afternoon?
It's the last bit of the year, and Greg and I we've done like roundups, we've done like things like this before, but like we covered a lot. This is the first full year that Worldwide Tea has been active, from January all the
Yeah.
way straight through, from Ginger Minch to post Ginger Minch. It's been a whole journey. And the thing is that we've covered a lot of Drag Race. I really had to double check and see if we had covered Thailand, and nope, that was last year. Thank fucking
Last
God, we
year.
don't have to
Thank
talk about
God.
Thailand anymore. But most critically, we've had a lot of looks. I thought it'd be fun to go down memory lane and just kind of count down the things that we thought were good. So, if you're listening in the audio versions, yes, we are live from the Pantages Theater in downtown Los Angeles, California. And if you're watching it on YouTube, we had backgrounds for budget reasons. Either way, Greg, it's been a wild year of Drag Race. If you were to just sum up just some of your brief thoughts about how the Drag Race franchises worked out this year, what would kind of your general thrust be?
I think my take is that the international seasons did a great job on the All-Star seasons. I am sort of happy that some of the franchises like España have continued their like consistency. Canada has had a comeback. I am very worried about UK. I think they need to make big changes there. And Brazil was okay. Like I didn't think there was any god awful season this year, and that's a good thing. I also am I am slightly concerned because I feel like I was told by Randy and Fenton from On the Record from World of Wonder that Italia was coming back. This was in April, and
Right.
there's still no official word on it. And I know the Italian queens are thought it was coming back either as an All Stars or a new season, and now it's sort of very confusing. And also, it does seem like World of Wonder has reached its for producing all these seasons on their own without partners, without terrestrial partners. If you're listening
Hmm.
and don't understand what terrestrial means, that means like a broadcast streamer or network in that country helps pay for some of the costs. So like in the UK or in Canada, where the BBC and Crave help cover costs, or in Australia, where Stan will be paying for a chunk of Drag Race Down Under versus the world. I, I'm a little worried for them in that respect, but there's still a ton of rumors. There's still a lot of stuff that's supposed to be happening. South Africa's still supposed to be coming at some point.
Japan allegedly at some point. Yeah,
I don't think
exactly.
that's. I think there's a production company that has the rights, but there's no like. I don't think that WoW wants to pay for that on their own. But
Yeah.
who knows? Slaysian Royale was a massive success.
Yeah.
So let's see what's going to happen in Asia down the road. But we have awards, Evan. We
We
have big
have
awards.
awards. Now, before we get into the awards specifically, I just want to talk about what we're going to be talking about and covering this year is we're not talking about the US seasons. That's not what World
No.
T does. So sorry, mistress. Sorry, Ginger. But we're talking about the second season of Drag Race Brazil. We're talking about France All Stars. We're talking about Philippines Slaysian Royale. We're talking about España season 5. And this is the thing I wanted to clarify with you. Canada. Canada's always weird because it usually premieres late in the year and covers over into next year. So I have, in terms of my nominations, I've written down a couple things from Canada 5 and a couple things from Canada 6. I think it's kind of I'm not sure exactly how we want to 6 that in that, but like it's kind of a weird like middle ground. How do you feel about covering Canada with that split in the year break?
You do you.
Okay.
I'm gonna. I don't have any nominations from the end of Canada's season for last season, but this season I do. So it or I yeah.
We'll
Fuck.
play it by
I mean, I
ear.
gotta be honest, Evan. I was at the Slaycation uh party premiere thing that they had a couple weeks ago here in LA at the Abbey, where I saw my girl Nikki Doll and Xana walked on the runway. I had no idea who she was. Like I completely forgot about her.
Mhm.
Everyone keeps talking like
No
you've mentioned her a
downloads at
couple times as
MP3.
like
Right, yeah.
that she was like a big part of the season and that she has this iconic verse and I do not remember her whatsoever. Like that's no disrespect, Xana, But I thought for a second, I was like, did they fly in Paolo Perfección and did she like change her mug? Um, but anyway, that's how I feel
Yeah.
about Canada. I am
Yeah.
much more excited though to talk about our first category.
Oh, yes. So, for the record, and just to give you a preview, everyone, tonight we're going to be getting out awards in prestigious categories like Best Crown Queen, Best Overall Season. We're going to give rankings for that, actually. Best Breakthrough Queen, Best Comedic Performance, the Wait What Award of the most what the fuck thing that happened so far this season, Best Redemption, Best Host of the Seasons, Best Lip Sync, Best Mug, and our first category, the one that I think is the hardest because there are the most nominees out of it. Greg, what are
Well,
your thoughts on the 2025 Best Runway Look?
I'm gonna give my runners up before I give my winner.
Please, I can't
Uh,
wait.
and first of all, huge thanks. Some behind the scenes things. Evan did a fantastic job pulling some great looks that I may have forgotten or he may have forgotten too, just to sort
I
of
had to go
judge.
through all of them. It
Uh,
was a
it
bit,
was
yeah.
it was a lot. First of all, Suki Doll's three face look from Slaysian Royale was
Slaysian
absolutely
Royale.
fantastic. Mami Watta's African Queen look was
Jesus
incredible,
Christ.
so incredible. Venus Deluxe's mystical creature, just for the sheer audacity of it.
Exactly.
Also, Venus Deluxe's Leaf look, which was a design challenge look, which the
Hmm.
sculpture that she created in the
Putting
design
a
challenge
face in there.
was
Right. Like, my God.
unbelievable. Uh, Ellipse's Substance look, it's the best substance look of any season we've had this
Uh-huh.
year, hands
Hmm.
down. Also, Ellipse's underrated Lore J'adore look, which was a beautiful
Ooh, you're
gold
right. Yeah,
striped.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
loved that. And then also perhaps the whether US All Stars, any international season, the best promo look of the season, and it might be one of the most iconic ones of all time, Mami Watta from
I mean,
Drag Race France All Stars.
Mama.
But my winner is actually a runway that appeared in a reunion episode. My winner is Denim Bola's Soda de Copa, the tarot card look, which she only wore in the reunion, but has posted four photos of, and it is absolutely breathtaking. It's this gray and green, or silver and green, number that is the closer you look at it, the photos, and you see the detail on it, it is unbelievable. It is one of the greatest all-time. The idea it didn't go down a formal runway is really sad,
Right.
but it is one of the greatest looks to ever appear on a Drag Race episode ever. And I didn't think that till I did think that, but then I went back and double checked and looked at all these other looks. By the way, France and España have had, España's runways are not as great as previous years, but France overall had stunning runways, like hands down. And this was still the best out of all of them. But Evan, that was my picks and runners up. What were yours for runway?
What a fucking pick, by the way, I want to say. Just absolutely, just stunning. Denibola was also, her blue tool look was also on my list as well, I
Hmm.
gotta say right there. Overall, some of the things I have to toss out. Kiana's wheat bowl look from the premiere
Hmm.
episode of Philippines Royale, she was in it to fucking win it. I will also say, I gotta give a little bit credit where it's due. I think Ruby Knox's leopard look that she wore in episode 2 of Brazil was like low-key iconic. Like it was low-key the best thing she had ever worn. I thought it was fantastic. Also, goddamn, Bones's hometown look from episode 1, that kind of those orbital pants that she wore, looking a little bit dapper, I thought was good. I'd be incorrect if I didn't talk about Peach's Wing Stallion look. I would be incorrect if I didn't talk about Can Hughes' muscle suit look
Hmm.
that she wore, which was just the detail was just fantastic. And like I could almost talk about the entirety of Mami Wada's runway package. Like
Mm.
almost every look she brought was so good. When it came down to it, I went a little bit of a different direction. And I listen, I'm a sucker, I'm a monster, I'm terrible. I went with two different looks for my
Oh,
final thing, and
tie.
one of them you did already mention. Suki Doll's Happy Face of All look was just So epic, so incredible. The detail that she because we've already seen in both that specific runway and in other iterations of Drag Race we've seen since then, we've seen other people do the multi-face thing already. She did it the best. She just absolutely did it the best. It was haunting, it was evocative, it was just so, and then she and the classic sandals that she wore as well for all of it, like everything came together
Hmm.
in just this beautiful moment there. But I got to do that, and in kind of a surprise, it's one of those looks that just it defies logic, it defies everything in the entire fucking universe. But Adora Black's design challenge look from Brazil season 2 episode 2 left me a little bit stunned, a little bit breathless. It was just one of those things, much like Venus Deluxe's leaf look that she wore as well. I don't know how someone was able to conceive of that in the fucking workroom and deliver that on that
Hmm.
stage. Listen, does Brazil too deserve a lot of flowers in this world? I don't think so necessarily, but there were some redeeming moments on here, and I will be remiss if I didn't shout out Adora Black for that incredible look at the very least. So that is my tie. That's where I lean overall. I think you made an incredible pick yourself, though. I gotta say that Ebola look was just next tier.
I listen. Adore being able to make that look in the workroom was incredible. Those are great picks. Can't
Yeah,
knock them whatsoever. Um,
yeah,
but we do move on to our next category, which I will say has been the toughest one personally for me to
girl,
pick
girl, yes,
because
100%.
we're up to best mug, and you can judge best mug in many different ways. You can judge it just in terms of like sheer ability to create something artistic with your makeup. You can judge it in how much you transform your face from out of drag to into drag, um, or what the impression that you leave from the mug is. So I gotta say, I'm still my runners up were
I did not have a lot for this pick, by the
I
way. It was just kind
I
of hard, yeah.
oh, of course, like the second I'm ready to do it and I screw up my runners up were Cam Hugh,
Uh-huh.
who
I
has
mean,
a
incredible.
who has incredible, by the way, makeup mogul now, Cam Hugh. Um and Kiana, who has a stunning mug from Slaysian Royale. In fact, I see she actually does have the best mug out of all the queens from
Uh-huh.
the Philippine queens from that season. Denimbola. So for the artistic look, I feel like she consistently gave the best. And then a surprise, I think, to you, Melina Blay. Melina, Melina Blay from
Oh!
Brazil has, and also she's a makeup artist,
Uh-huh.
has one of the most beautiful mugs out of any, certainly on her season. But if you go back and look consistently, she is a artist. She's really great. And then also Ellipse. Ellipse is a great makeup artist and hers as
Hmm.
well. And then my underrated, and you're gonna laugh. You are so gonna laugh. Saltina Shaker. So I mentioned this on our Canadian.
Yes! Yes!
This is not our winner. My winner is going to
Yeah.
second. But I need to give Saltina a shake out a shout out here because her makeup has. I talked about this on our Canada episode. She has learned how to use her makeup to make her eyes and her face pop, and her mug does that in a way that isn't duplicating Trixie Mattel or other queens. Like she's not doing, the Miss Fame Violet mug queens are doing forever. She did come up with something on her own, and it works big time. And it does actually transform her face. So there's other things about Celtina that are we've talked about in Canada. I love you, Celtina, but you don't need our love. You have 750,000 Instagram followers. You're okay. But my winner was for consistency and beauty and never never wrong, never a fault ever is Mami Watta from
I
Drag Race France.
mean, I mean, uh,
And
uh,
I will also say there were a number of queens who Piche does a very good mug, but her beard gets in the way sometimes,
hmm
and I feel like that ruins the effect. I'm not a huge bearded queen fan. I respect it. I'm all for it. But Mami Wada to me, that was my winner. Evan, your mug runner-ups, if you have any, and or your
My
winner. Who do you pick?
mugger-ups, my mugger-ups. I mean, listen, not to be that guy, I do think Adora Black did a very good job on Brazil. I'm not gonna lie, I thought she
Mm.
did a pretty solidly job. Apologies to Mellody Queen. My winner is Desiree Beck. I'm so kidding. I'm not gonna
Ugh.
do that to you whatsoever. I also gotta give credit out there. I thought
Listen,
she did
Desiree
fucking
Beck has a better mug than 90% of the queens on UK. Like, come
right,
on.
right, right. Moon, of course, my gotta give a rep girl Moon because I thought she was did good makeup in her season. I thought she did a phenomenal job with everything that she provided in All Stars overall. But I gotta be honest with you. I gotta be honest with you. I'm a little bit surprised because for me, I love my weirdo queens. I love my Denabolas. I love my wackadoo
Magnesias?
crazes. Exactly. Yes. So for me to go with more of a traditional like beauty mug, it kind of takes a lot for me to get there. And
Yeah.
listen, I think I was a little bit surprised, but I do think that consistently, week after week, it was such a simple look. I gotta be honest, Greg. I feel so weird saying it, but Paige Three did so fucking good with her face.
Wow, my girl.
I just was really impressed. She always, and like the thing is that she did enough changes and contours to her face, even going home in that bearded toy soldier look that she did. Like it was
Yeah,
still fantastic. She knew exactly what to do, and I think that's the thing. What probably most impressed me the most about it is that you always could tell her mug from a distance. You could also always
true.
tell that it was, and again for a beauty mug, like I'm so sorry to Bones. Bones's mug kind of gets lost in the wash for me. Like
Yeah.
you could go in the print of like someone's face and take it out. I would not be able to tell what Bones is. I would be able to tell who Page Three is. And for me to have that something with more of a beauty mug thing, I was very impressed with it. I still think she's a whole horridly underrated queen altogether, given her run on the season. But yeah, I Page Three. Surprisingly for me, that is where I'm at.
I gotta be honest, I'm not sure Paige Three is considered underrated by either the fans or her fellow queens. I think a lot of people think she should have won the season.
Yep.
But I will say this, I think that's a great pick. And I will say how she transforms her face because she has a very masculine face out of drag. Which by the way is the big difference. Bones is a pretty boy, and she makes herself look sharper. She does have a little bit of the Crystal Versace, tiny, tiny bit. But I do think Paige does a great mug and a great transformation. So that's a very fun pick. And also Paige Three for US All Stars. Throwing it out there. Come on,
Girl,
get her on a
fuck
US All
me.
Star.
Yeah,
The U
assuming Rue's not done
the
playing with her toy yet. Right, like
the
come on.
US fans would absolutely love her.
Mhm.
But this is a fun category. Best
Oh.
lip sync. Evan, do you want to go first or would you love me to
Ah!
go?
Oh, please go, Greg. I need to know. I
So
am so
I
curious.
I have two runner-ups. It was
For the
really
record,
hard.
Greg thought I didn't include one of the top ones on there. I had to point out to him I absolutely did in my rundown. I absolutely did. Go ahead, please, please, please.
uh so the Mami Watta versus Piche Comme des Garçons
Yeah.
is such joy. You watch that lip sync, they are just having a blast. It is just fun and joy. And Mami Wada just steals the stage. Like,
It should have
so
been
kills it.
Peaches to win, and Mommy just
Mommy just
fucking
took it.
rips her. It's so good. It's
It's so
so
good.
good.
The next one is because they're such it's such a high level. This is actually closer probably to the Horatio Lena Fox than
Hmm.
the other reference we were talking about earlier today. Alexandra de Reval versus Daphne Mugler.
Thank you.
Daphne Mugler in that lip sync shows so much effortlessly. Like she blows the stage off, and it doesn't feel like tricks. It feels like it's part of the lip sync. It feels like everything she's doing. And that was like the third time Alexandra had lip, no, fourth time because she goes home from
Yeah.
this.
Hmm.
And Alexandra is still great. Alexandra's
She
a great
did. She
queen,
really
and
did.
she was fighting, and she like was doing all sorts of stuff. But that's a great lip sync. But my number one lip sync, and
I think I
perhaps,
know.
oh, you know what it is. Perhaps in the all-time top 10 of internet, if we the next time we do our rankings of international lip syncs or all-time lip syncs, is Satin Grecho versus Margarita, tune Un Estrella un mi jardin by Mary Trini. And this was the lip sync where beforehand, uh,
Satin
Satin
was ready to
basically
go,
ready to go
basically, it seemed
home.
like
She's like,
almost, yeah.
listen, put me in the bottom. If I have to go home, I have to go home. And this lip sync is so good. It's so emotional. It's so powerful. Supreme is crying. The Javis are crying. Anna Locking's crying. Rossi De Palma, the iconic Pedro Almodovar muse, Rossi De Palma is crying, and maybe she knows who Satin is, barely knows these queens, and she's crying. I'm crying. Evan is not crying, but I'm
I'm not
crying.
crying.
But Evan's not. But that lip sync will that lip sync's incredible. So that is my number one lip sync of the year. I thought it was an okay lip sync year. I didn't think it was
I
overall
agree.
a
I
great
agree. Yeah.
whatever. I think we have a problem with our seasons where too many good songs get used on weak queens and lip syncs for their lives at the beginning of the
Mhm.
seasons, and it's starting to piss me off. I'd rather they save the good songs for later, but they want the good songs because they want people to keep watching and they want them to hear, oh my God, I heard whoever, like in, whatever. But Evan, more importantly, what were your runner-ups, if you had any, and what was your lip sync of the year?
First off, everything that you did talked about, I agree with. I fully agree with pretty much every single one of these. And just I want to give a special honorable mention to Drag Race Philippines Slaysian Royale for having the first ever live band lip sync as well,
Yes!
when they
Oh
had the
my
Lola
God!
Amor song on there. What an incredible moment. I thought it was fantastic. I'm glad that even happened over here. In terms of runner, Greg, I'm going to be honest. You're going to be so shocked by my pick. You're going to be so shocked by my pick. Rest assured. Outside of everything you said, listen, the recent Ebony versus Caramel lip sync to Work by Kelly Rowland's Freemasons remix, pretty solid over there. And again, I think it's technically last year, but Perla versus Sanjaya Debish tweeting Bad Bitches Don't Cry by Priyanka, phenomenal. Perla absolutely won every hearts all the way over there. PM versus Hazel, Dumb Blonde, amazingly. And also, I got to give credit, Cartoon Heroes by Aqua to finally see a lip sync to that, the stupidest fucking song of all time. Arizona Brandy versus Brigading from Slaysian Royale, incredible. Mami Watta versus Peach, Mami Watta versus Elipse for the actual Abracadabra finale lip sync that we needed in our lives. Let's be
Yes.
real
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
record. Those are some great picks overall. I was almost gonna go with the Mami Watta versus Elipse Abracadabra by Lady Gaga. I almost was. That's probably my runner up.
Okay.
I'm a little bit shocked, Greg, but when I think about the amount of joy that I felt seeing this, and from queens who I don't even necessarily think are necessarily great lip sync artists, I'm so sorry to do this. I have to. Desiree Beck versus Mellody Queen, Brazil
Ah,
by Gal Costa. It was the kind of thing where like, is Brazil a great season? No, it's not. But like these two like kind of ish like front runners that are like in the contention for each other, they just went so hard for a song that was so joyous that celebrated Brazil, and like people were just like stunned. There were two double chantés that happened that season, and like there were three non-elimination episodes in a very short season. It did not need to have that many non-elimination episodes. This absolutely was one of them. And I think it's like right now we have Desiree Beck in a leopard print outfit with the rougiest of rouge cheeks of all time. We have
hmm.
Mellody Queen dressed up as a werewolf, and they're singing about Brazil, and it's just like they're taking over the stage, and there's energy, and it was just one of the most surprising moments to happen over there. There's not a lot of great takeaways out of Brazil season two, personally, but if there is, this was one of them. I cannot believe it's my number one pick, but like I had just such a joyous moment over there. I think you did too when we talked about it when it initially happened. But
No,
yeah, I
I
was yeah
listen, I stand my Muppet Brazilian Queen. Like I Desiree Beck, I think was
yeah
underrated. If there's ever a Brazilian All-Stars, or if I don't know if she speaks Spanish, would love to see her on Latina Royale or
yeah.
whatever. But no, that's an inspired pick. I will say that,
Yeah.
Evan.
That
Uh,
shows how much. Do you know Greg and I are in the trenches every
yeah,
single
we're in
week
the
watching these
that
seasons.
that qualifies as a deep cut. A deep cut. Um,
Absolutely.
Up
Oh,
next is
oh,
this is a
Greg.
tough one.
This was
It,
surprisingly hard. This was
this was really
surprisingly
tough.
hard, I gotta say.
So it's time for best host.
Best host.
Would you like to go first, or would you like me to
I
take
could go
myself to the
first.
gallows? You go
No, no,
first.
no. We could go first. Let's talk about it. Who are our nominees for best host? Well, technically RuPaul is one of them. Spoiler alert, she does not win. There's that. There is Drag Queen from Brazil, Nikki Doll, of course, from France, Mama Pao from Philippines, Supreme Deluxe from España, and Brooklyn Heights. And I think overall, this is a great run of hosts overall, and RuPaul.
Yeah.
And like the thing is that Drag Queen is still great. She's not my winner. I'm so sorry to any of y'all there. I think it really comes down to Brooke Supreme. Mama and Nikki if we're being serious about it, if we're being like actually serious out there. And they all have different strengths, they all have different weaknesses. Supreme has been such a kind and generous host and just had the
Mm.
worst taste in fucking outfits this season, which I know isn't the one qualifier for it, but my God, when you compare it to what the other queens do, it's rough. So for me, if you take that logic over there, it's Brooklyn Heights, it's Nikki, it's Mama Pow, and I have to think about who did the best job hosting the show, making people feel comfortable, and overall just making everyone just feel good, and also dealing with some difficult emotional moments as well. My personal pick for best host this year, it's gonna go to Mama Pow. Because I think she is a force to be reckoned with. I think Slaysian Royale absolutely introduced her to a whole bunch of people, but it's not just the fact that she felt supportive. She never felt she was condescending to any of the international queens that were there. She also, most importantly, dealt with the passing of Jiggly
Yes.
Caliente in a very respectful and very emotional and very kind way, and just made it happen. And also just the stupid repeating of lines, Festival! Like, she endeared herself with her absurdity every single time. The only person in the world who's turned down Greg for an LA Times interview to interview
Is
all the
Mama
hosts of
Val.
International Drag Race. And it's the kind of thing where it's like, she's just iconic on every level. It was a tough pick for me. I think it's Mama Pow. It just kind of feels like she has to be the host with the most, truth be told.
I think it's a great pick. I'm gonna give you my
I have a sense
ascending
already before you even say
order.
anything. Yeah.
No, I think you may be surprised. I do have to say this was the 12 months where we did not have the bad hosts.
Yeah.
So the weaker hosts who will go unnamed. One of them we don't know will if they'll ever be hosting again. And also shout out to Barbie Breakout, who was a great host of Drag
100%.
Race Germany. So
100%.
good. Also, who's oh my God, his name from Drag Race Sweden, great host as well.
Oh my
I'm
God.
forgetting his name. It's Richard. Not it's his like out of drag name. I think it's Richard. Anyway, he was great. He because he was sort of in male drag. He wasn't really always in female drag.
Oh, Robert Fuchs. Robert
Robert
Fuchs.
Fuchs. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
really good. And this is no disrespect because I actually think Greg does a very fine job. Greg would be my one, two, fifth place. Then fourth place would go to Brooklyn. I like Brooklyn really great. I thought her moment this season where she went on stage and consoled
Star and all.
Star was really inspired and great and genuine. She still can be a little tiny awkward sometimes, but I'm a big Brooklyn fan. She has so stepped into that role so great. Then it would be Supreme. Supreme has there's maybe years maybe there would be a couple years ago where Supreme would have been number one, but
100%.
the outfits this year were a little wild. But she still was great and also like I think often gives away how she really feels about Queens. Maybe when the producer narrative isn't showing something else. Perfect example being her friend Crystal Forever going home and she's genuinely crying, which the Queens tried to joke about but was very real because that was her
Hmm.
friend. But then it comes down to my girl Nikki Doll and Mama Pow. And so here's the thing. If
Here's the
this had
thing.
been last year, I would have picked Nikki. And Nikki, you are absolutely incredible this year. You are hands down a star. You are like, it is so close. So close between if I and I'm not just not going to give a tie in this category because there's so few.
Right, right. No.
But like what Mama Pow had to go through with Jiggly dying during the season, and that moment will resonate with me. I will always remember that crack in her voice
Yeah.
when she had a moment to say something. It makes me emotional when you think about it now. It's so
Hmm.
powerful. And then to have to come back day after day when you've lost your friend and you have to pretend to be happy and doing this show. And she's so funny and she's so hilarious. And she got on, we've talked about this before about how I wish they had shot the new Philippine season that they're going to be doing, the regular season, right after All Stars because Mama Pow is a little bit like a marathon runner. Like she sort of starts a little like rough, but then as it goes on, she just gets on a rhythm. And
Right.
by the end of that season, she was pedal to the metal, hil- hilarious, so smart. Her looks were fantastic,
Hmm.
witty, and just like never let a moment like fail her. And just Oh, and reads the room almost like no other host. I don't even know if Rue
100%.
does. Like
Right.
she really reads and she'll break that fourth wall and has no problem doing it. Mama Pao is a legend. I always get frustrated with my friends who don't watch Philippines because and even something like Slaysian Royale, where it was like mostly in English, because they are missing out on what should be to Western gays a like gay icon. And I just so we are agreed. Our first agreement, Mama Pow, you are the hostess with the mostest for 2025.
Hooray! Fantastic.
Woo!
Well, hey, listen, Greg and I, we have our opinions, but we will come together. I think that is absolutely incredible. I am curious to see if we are going to agree on this next category, Greg, which is Best Redemption. Now, this does kind of have a more limited basis on here because this is basically queens who were on previous seasons, who are now on
Yeah.
new seasons. And for international, that only means there are two seasons. That is France All Stars and that is Slaysian Royale. However, especially with Slaysian, because there's so many queens from so many different international things,
Mm.
we have a lot of different places to pick from. Greg, where are your thoughts on this? What are your nominees? I'm so curious
I'm
to
gonna
see how this
be
plays out. Yeah.
You know what, Reyes? I didn't have that many. I didn't have any runner-ups. I just had
Oh,
one pick. I thought, by the
oh,
way, I should say, especially on France, I don't think one queen who came back on All Stars did not like shine or do great. Soa was in a strange case because she'd already won $50,000. She'd done great on Global. It was sort of like, hey, come and have fun. I would have loved Soa to get further along in the season. She was actually
same.
great. She had a great runway, so like as she showed later on. I do think she got a little screwed over, like on the show, but nobody on that show didn't come back and wasn't all-star level and better than they had been before.
Even the early outs, even Big
Yeah,
Bertha, even they all still did
Big
great.
Bertha
Like,
wasn't an
oh,
early out though. She
right.
lasted long. Yeah, yeah, like so they were great. But mine is and it's funny because during the season, I criticized her for her shady confessionals. Um, but she went from seventh in her original season to, I would argue, and I love you, Brigadine, should have won Slaysian Royale, and that's Venus Deluxe. I thought
Damn.
Venus Deluxe had a redemption arc that should be studied. She took it to another level. She worked her ass off, and I think she is a this is a compliment, a high drag art a drag queen now. She I would never expect her to not be close to perfect or at a top tier anytime, anywhere I saw her. I think Venus is amazing, and she is my redemption for 2025. How about you?
I gotta be honest, she kind of reminds me, and I mean this in the most complimentary way, of Tia Coffee, because Tia Coffee, who was just the most busted basic ass queen on her original season, came back with the clear intent of like, I need to show you how good of a queen I am, no matter what the cost. I don't care how much it costs me, I'm going to do it. And Venus didn't have the problem of being a basic bitch. She was already a great queen to start with.
Yeah.
She just was in a difficult environment with everything that happened. And so she still went in with like, I'm going to murder you hookers and did. And like she did fantastically so. If only she hadn't pulled that shit out her
But
butt on the final lip sync.
wait. I just have to say, but Tia Coffee shouldn't have won her season. LeBron Dam and Marina should have won their season.
Greg, we listen. That's a 2024 discussion. That is a
All
whole
right.
other thing. So I got to be
Anyway,
honest. I was very tempted on this one here. Like for me, like for Kitty Space to come back and get a win, I thought that was awesome. For Yuhua to basically come out of television retirement some several years later and kind of prove that she still has some gas in that tank, I thought was lovely. Uh and overall, Elipse had one of the most redemptive overall arcs that you could possibly say. Greg, this is very much a personal pick for me because we don't align on this one here. But also, when I say the name, I think you're going to agree with what I say on here. It has to be, of all the queens that we have, who had the best redemption, even though she may have been laughed at a little bit. I'm sorry. For the way that she was treated on her original season, Siam Phusri, she came
oh,
back. She came back and wanted to prove something and actually did. She actually did. For those who aren't
yeah.
aware, the way Siam Phusri was treated on Thailand season 3 was insane. This is someone who was
Yeah.
very much considered like, you're fake, you're not real, and she's like, what are you talking about? I'm being as real as I possibly can. She was ostracized from the group for no apparent reason, and it just like we felt bad. Like like it was one of the worst seasons of Drag Race you've ever seen, and Greg and I both like had such immense sympathy for her. So for her to come back on Slaysian Royale, to be in the top 2 on the first episode, to have so many stupidly iconic moments, for her to do the worst Lisa impression of all time, for her to have some actually great runways, and then not for her to be chanting and singing and just like creating genuine iconic television
Yeah.
moments. She may not have won anything on here, but it was nice to see that other people could see Siam Pushi being the queen that she actually is in this world on here. And so like I have a feeling we might even see her again at this point, because like it's the thing where she is just such a unique individual. She deserved that second chance. I'm glad that she got a second chance, even if she didn't win anything. She deserved the redemption more than anyone else. So I just have to shout her out. Siam Prushi, you are still a wackadoo. I still will hold to that accusation. But I was just so happy that she got more than a couple episodes of people just beating the shit out of her, and she actually got to show what her drag artistry what really was. That made me so happy.
I 1000% agree. And I think the only reason I didn't pick her is she might be winning another award that's upcoming.
Okay, okay,
So
okay, okay.
the next award
Well,
actually, Evan, is the and I we need to say it correctly. It's the Wait What
what?
award. The Wait What? What just
Wait,
happened?
what?
Award.
What?
And I have to give Evan a ton of credit because I'm gonna steal this from you, man. He did the long list of the crazy bullshit that we have experienced this weekend. Some random ones like this was the first time we had a Jessie Ware lip sync on Drag Race UK, which is wild. Uh, Satin Grecho, we mentioned this earlier, doesn't, doesn't want to save herself. She's like, send me to the wolves. An iconic moment
Truly.
in all of whatever. Um, El Vasquez, insane win in the premiere episode in a garbage outfit on Drag Race UK. As I like, which was just El Vasquez run is like, I mean, I hope there are meetings happening soon about replacing the story editors on UK. I hope they already done it because they're about to shoot soon. Um, uh, Piche, you wrote, brings an entire film sets to set. I would refer to it as her shipping container outside the soundstage, full of all her outfits. Which to this day I forgot to ask Nikki about that. Nikki, if you're listening, I need to know about what her shipping container. Um, Also Poseidon. Listen, we forgot to say this at the beginning of the episode. All drag is valid. All No queen deserves hate. Um, but the idea that Poseidon drag made it to the top 4 of Brazil is even wilder than Nick's making it to the top 4 of Aspiria. Which is like,
Really?
yeah,
Oh
really.
my God.
Also, Paolo Perfeccion's mistaken elimination by the Drag Race, Canada's Drag Race producers, which they never should have allowed happen. And additionally, Bones beating Paige in the lip sync because I think Paige had mustache on. Like, I don't still understand how that happened. And of course, the one that I also forgot to ask Nikki about, Elipse winning the makeover is just crazy on
We
France.
had an emergency episode of the podcast after
Yeah,
that happened, because at that point, Greg and I were convinced they're just throwing the fucking season to
yeah.
Ellipse at that point. It just made zero fucking
It made
sense,
zero
truth be
sense.
told.
But my pick for the wait, what moment is Siam Pushi singing in the workroom, having a sort of emotional breakdown that the queens have all said afterwards was more intense and bizarre than was on screen, and it's intense and bizarre on screen.
Uh-huh.
And to let everyone remember, she sings a song. Hi, Siam. We're here to dance and play.
Like,
She actually did a remix of it, which was smart. It didn't really go anywhere. But that is my what moment of the year. Evan, did we by any chance pick the same what moment of the year?
we did not. And
Oh,
actually, I mean, listen, it is a wait, what moment. Stop chanting. It is still like incredible in every single which possible way. My pick still has to be of all the things that happened, and I wish it was more of a comic one, but Elipse winning for the fucking
Yeah,
makeover challenge. It
wild.
it just for I think that overall, even though there were some shocking eliminations that happened on Drag Race fronts, All Stars, I think overall it was still fair. I thought it was still like pretty good. That was the one most egregious decision of all because truly Greg and I were just sitting here just being every once in a while there's a dissemination where it's like, man, I don't see how they got there. I mean, I can see how they got there. I just don't agree with it. This was truly a what the fuck are you doing
Yeah.
kind of thing. Just truly, truly out of nowhere. Ellipse, we love you. She still made it to the top two. She has maybe one of the best redemptive arcs of
Yeah.
anyone overall. She just came back and had a almost drag Sethless style run of just stomping on the competition week over week. But that win was just fully undeserved and felt so out of place. And I don't want to say it almost ruined the season, but it definitely made Greg and I have immediate doubts as to how the rest of it was going to play out in the moment. So for me, that was the most curious and quixotic thing that happened personally. That's
And
just me.
I do want to say about that moment, one of the crazy things is, and we've talked about on the podcast in the past, is like, listen, we're not in the room. So
Hmm.
sometimes things appear different, like on a stage that's only 20 feet away or 30 feet away, than how it appears on television. As I cannot tell you how different things will often seem on camera as opposed to in person. Like, so a perfect example, I was at the season 9 finale, I'm not humble bragging, but I was at the season 9 finale for Drag Race, the first lip sync live one. And for the final lip sync between Peppermint and Sasha Velour, not
Hmm.
on camera, but in the room, it seemed closer than it was. It seemed like Peppermint was right there with her. But when you saw the cut and they didn't play with the edit, it was so obvious in the lip sync that Sasha had won. And that's sometimes that happens. You just don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, that was one of the like, I still, there's no way that in the room, I just don't believe it. Like, I don't understand. And there has to be a backstory, and maybe we'll hear it someday. Um,
Right.
but anyway, we are now up to, by the way, this was the toughest category for
Oh my
me.
God, thank you. Yes.
Best comedic performance.
I had
Uh,
such a finite list. I'm so sorry. I'm sure there's so many
no, I
other
did too.
nominees. Yeah.
The one thing I will say is through all of I only have two comments. First, the winner of this, not my real winner, was Plain Jane in Drag Race, UK season 5. Like she was the funniest, like of anything. Like she stole that episode. She was
Hmm.
hilarious. But also I would say if there was a way to give it for a season, I would say Venus made me laugh in almost every single thing
My
she did.
God. Absolutely.
She was so funny in every acting challenge and everything she did, she was great. But my pick, and I am 99% sure this is not your pick, and I don't speak Spanish, so this is with subtitles and the acting. I literally laughed watching this. Satin Grecho in Snatch Game as Isabella Panjora, a famous Spanish singer. I just laughed. She made me laugh so hard. I thought it was
She
funner
did
than
so
than
goddamn
so many
good.
other things. Yeah. That was my pick. Evan had made a list of other potential things and I looked at all the other ones and I was like, nope, she's still the funniest to me. What about
Yeah.
you?
I mean, I would also maybe as a runner-up put Satin Greco's coronation, wearing the fucking crown upside down on her head, walking up and down the runway. That was up there because it's like, oh, what have we unleashed upon the world? My fucking God. It's just truly, truly incredible. I put down Yuha Hamasaki's political werewolf from Slaysian Royale as just an insane thing. Misty Phoenix shocking all of us with her Snatch Game
Yeah.
performance as well from France All Stars. But I have to be honest when Moon became the that cow milker character from The Weakest Heel with Lola
Oh,
Lima back
right.
from that was so stupid and she was so fucking funny. Every answer was insane. She didn't fully understand the prompt at certain moments. She was just like out of her mind crazy. I mean, I listen, my bias towards Moon was pretty obvious on her. She had a really good run even though she didn't win any
Yeah.
challenges. She still had a really good run on France All Stars. I was so happy for her. But when she does shit like that, I'm like, oh god damn it, there's a reason why I love you. I was so happy. Just overall, it was fantastic. But Moon completely kept me away. The close runner up to that was when they did the charades challenge to every queen who was in that, when they had to like guess
Yeah.
the actions and whatnot. That was so stupid. And let's be real, France had some of the best stupid mini challenges out of all of them. For Greg and I, as you know, we have mini challenge exhaustion. In UK, you should maybe just stop
Oof.
doing them.
Stop.
But I will say, at least in France, at least in Philippines, they're still fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, and credit to Moon. Moon just absolutely swept it for me completely.
The Espana ones are pretty good. The Espana ones
Yeah,
are pretty. They're not like at
yeah,
the level of like Canada or UK, which are just ugh. Um,
yeah.
but up next is biggest breakthrough. This was also a
Biggest
tough cat.
breakthrough.
This was
Oh
a
my
tough category.
God. Yes. So
So
what is the qualification for this category? I guess is probably the biggest thing.
I I
In
so
my
in
mind,
theory, you tell me what you think it is.
biggest breakthrough is Queen, who is become broken out from the pack, who is going to be one of those queens that we hear from a long time, but not necessarily a winner of a season. Someone who just
Yes.
kind of came out of nowhere, who just like, wow, we're talking about them so much more than we ever have before. It could be an All Stars, it could be a standard season, doesn't really matter, but just kind of the biggest breakout queen that is now on our radar and will probably be for some time.
This is super hard.
Yeah.
I I I'm going with, and it's hard because it's asterisks because it sort of happened before the show came on, but I feel like the show in its popularity is going to take her to another. I feel like she'll go to another level, and I have so many friends who don't always watch international drag races who follow her now and like think she's hilarious. So thank you, Trixie, I guess. But Sami Landri, I think, is
I
my breakthrough. I
mean,
feel like we will see
I
her
mean,
in all sorts of things. I don't know if she wants to even do anything in the US, but she's going to tour and she's gonna be a thing for a long time, and I because she's also super effing smart. I don't expect her to go anywhere, and I think her drag's only gonna get more and more interesting. I almost went with Paige, but I feel like Paige might be stuck in the UK in some ways unless she can get some exposure somewhere else. And I do think if you were just looking at Spain, I think Daphne Mugler is a
mhm,
potential long-term star there.
yeah.
But Sammy is my winner. How about you?
This was tough. And it's interesting that you went with a Canadian Queen because for me, like I had nominations. Yeah, Page Three, obviously. Also, I got to give credit. Someone who's been in our comment section on our YouTube videos, Young Bella, I think, was a
Yeah.
queen who could have had a dismal run, but ended up kind of out on top. And I'm really proud of her. Like I was just very happy with it. I think she's gonna do more beyond Drag Race,
I
truth be
feel like
told.
if she'd had a couple more episodes, maybe she could have stolen this. But
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. Desiree Beck, I'm still going to shout her out as
yeah.
well. I thought she was a real force. Denable and Murnau, obviously. I'm going to love my goddamn weirdo queens, especially when you're given looks like fucking that. My God. And also PM, obviously. I mean, I don't care. I love my fucking biases on here. But I got to be honest, Greg. It's so funny that you picked a queen from Canada season six because I also picked a queen from Canada
Uh,
season six. I'm not saying that this is going to be on the same level as our famous Back It On Up queen, but I got to be honest. Paolo Perfección is instantly iconic. I think she has already dominated the space and the sphere with just 2 episodes. She's like is she a great queen? I don't even know. Does it matter when everything you do is iconic? Like it's just one of the like again the Paolo Profession stop being iconic challenge. What will happen with her? I don't know. But the fact that the social medias on the Canada's Drag Race pages have immediately started like referencing her verses and her outfits and everything else like that. Like sure, you talked about this earlier in the episode. Producers screwed up. They didn't know what they had with her, and I think now that they know, she could be coming back. She could be something else. I had not seen a breakthrough quite like this in some time, but for me, yeah, I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna say Paolo Profession is definitely gonna be on our screens at some point in the future. I think she's had an impact. Greg's giving me a look right now. I don't know how to
I
interpret it.
I love Paolo. I think they made a huge mistake with dropping her this early.
Yeah.
I thought she was absolutely iconic. I feel as though the season has gone on, it's faded a little bit because also
Yeah.
I don't know if she didn't plan this. She'll tell you like she just was unemployed and like got on the show and on a whim. But she's doing more I don't know if she prepared herself enough for this to let this take her to the next level. And
Correct.
I also I feel like this could be a little Princess Poppy. like in the sense that like she's good at social media and maybe she
Hmm.
starts doing more stuff in Boy or more stuff in like what I feel like it could go in a different direction, but maybe I don't know. There is a rumor that they're going to do Canada's All Stars next and not do a versus. And if she decides to come back, which you would hope they would ask her, would she make it that much further? Maybe in a couple of years. I don't know. We'll see. But I do love her, and I do feel
Yeah.
like I would have loved a couple more episodes of her on the show as opposed to some other queens. But it's a good pick. It's a great pick. But now it's a big one, Evan.
It's
We
our
are going
last
to
two. It's the big
rank.
categories. The big
We're
categories.
we're gonna rank our seasons for the best seasons of 2025. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to jump into the waters?
You know, here's actually here's what I'm gonna say. Here's what I'm gonna say.
Oh, we should alternate. We should
Yeah,
do our number six. You should do one of us should do one of our number six and go back and forth till we get to the top.
yeah. I think that's a good idea, and I think we're probably gonna line up on there. Now, the real question I have on this is, which Canada are you counting?
I'm only counting six. You
Okay,
can
you're only
count it
counting
as both.
six.
You can do whatever you want. It's fine. I'm only counting six.
Okay, I just have to briefly lock. I have to briefly lock in my picks right now. Ooh, that's gonna be tough. All right, cool. All right, I'm ready. All right,
Do you want me to
I
start?
yeah, go with your number six.
In a surprise to
Best
no one.
season.
At number six, and by the way, it wasn't god awful. It was fun. It was fine.
It
It
was
was
fine.
fine.
It was fine.
Brazil season two, which by the way was probably an improvement over the previous season, in some respects. I think the final queens actually in the top four were better on season one than on season two. Um, but I mean that's argumentative. But that's my take. But I'm assuming your number six is Brazil too as well, or maybe not.
Oh, bitch! It's of course it's Brazil number two. Let's be so real. What are we talking about here? We covered it. We know what's going on. It's weird because I watched season one all the way through two as well, and like it's weird because I felt like season one and season two of Brazil had the inverse problem. Season
Yeah.
one of Brazil had one of the hardest launches of any franchise ever. Those first two, three episodes were rough and
Bad.
dry and terrible, just bad, just flat out bad. And then as it grew out through the season, due to Bertolini's eccentricities wear down on you. It gets goofier. Greg feels more confident in it. By the end of the season, like you have Between a Polaroid, you have you have Organza, you have some really stellar queens by the end of it. It
Mm.
actually ended pretty strong. And I felt the exact opposite with Brazil season two. It actually started
Yeah.
out pretty strong. It actually had some really fun moments. Oh my God, Mellody Queen, she's a force to be reckoned with. Look at you have all these things happening, and then as it keeps going on, these fucking mid-tier ass fucking queens keep holding on to dear life. It just gets boring and boring, and by the time Ruby wins her third challenge, it's game over, and it's just like
Yeah.
it just loses all its momentum. So it's still not a bad season. Listen, we've covered Thailand season three. We know what a bad Drag Race season looks like. We know the final bracket of All Stars 10. We know these things.
Yeah.
But all I can say is that Brazil season two of our six seasons that we have is lowest of the list for me. So yes.
Not much else needs to be said. Ranking our number
Five.
five. I also feel like this might be slightly obvious. For me, it's Drag Race UK season seven. I love the queens. I thought if you were to just take the queens and put them in another season and maybe have better judging and maybe some more interesting challenges, I think it would have been really interesting. I do feel like there is no other franchise where producer intent on what they want to happen is telegraphed to every single viewer, no matter what country or language you speak. And I think I think WoW likes to use the term of sophisticated drag race viewers. I think for the sophisticated drag race viewers that never cancel their WoW Plus
Hmm.
subscription, this is wearing on them. Like I hear very little positives about this season. And I feel bad because I do think Bones is a great queen. I think she'll be a fantastic winner. I think I'm happy for her. I would love to interview if we ever talk to her down the road. But I do feel like as a season that top four was weak as fuck, and too many good queens went too early. Even Bonnie and Clyde, who I think, by the way, we saw her horrible finale runway, like
Yeah.
would never have won, would have been a better top four. And just for them to make the choice of not letting Paige get to the end is just wild to me. Like I
Hmm.
just don't understand what they were thinking. And I don't think Paige even deserved to be in the bottom that way. It was so anyway, they wanted that lip sync. They got it. What was your number five, Evan?
This actually might be the first time we diverge. I'm so fucking kidding. Of course, it's got to be goddamn UK season 7. Let's be real. It just sucks because it's I hate to be that guy that falls into the line of curses and shit, but like what's going on? All of the even number seasons
Good.
are great. In season 2, you have fucking Bimini going up against Lawrence Chaney, and you have Taste there. Season 4, you have a top 2 of Danny Beard versus fucking Cheddar Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Season 6 is Kyron Flax versus Lavoie, and you got Marmalade right there. Like at the end of the day, and this is the one thing where when I'm thinking about the failures of Canada season 5, I really, to a degree, like, again, Canada will always innovate on the challenges there, but at the end of the day, it comes down to casting. And I don't know what the fuck happened, but the cast from season 7 of UK is just not on that same level. And like it's so weird because like I think Bones is a great queen. I think Paige Three is a great queen. But then fucking Katrine Feelings is in their fucking top 4. Like
Yeah.
it's so wild. And I also feel like all of the challenges were just not as inspired as what we've seen before. Go ahead.
I think I disagree with you in that respect. I
Okay.
do think that there was a great top four or top six in that group, but they
Hmm.
let Katrine and Elle, who they thought were better than they were, and Bonnie make it so far that by the time you got to the end, they'd gotten rid of like Sally TM and they got rid of Paige. And by the way, even Patsy is probably better as a comedy queen than Katrin Feelings. I do not understand the love they had for Katrin Feelings. She never once showed to me that she
I
was
love Tavis
worth.
McGarty more than fucking Catching
Yes,
Feelings. Right, exactly. And
1000%.
like, yeah. And also on top of that, the fucking the lucky cow fucking twist I fucking
Yeah.
hated that shit so hard. And then it was only for one episode. It's like, what are we fucking doing? At least fucking Espana's gonna commit to
Yeah.
the secret lip sync queen or the broken hearts or like whatever the fuck they want to try and do. Like at least they'll commit to it. This half-hearted gesture thing just didn't work out for me. Love you, UK. Hopefully your next even numbered season is one of the good ones. We'll see
Fingers
what happens
crossed.
with UK versus. But we
Oh.
will we will see. We will see. Greg,
Uh,
here's the one thing I'll say is that UK versus, I think we all have admitted that for those who know who the alleged cast are, it may not be the strongest group, but who knows? Maybe something great will come out of that. I don't know.
you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
Exactly. Now
Uh,
this at this point, I think Greg and I might diverge on our picks a little bit, depending. So we'll see.
it sounds like it. So again, I'm not. My pick. I'll just spoil it. Is Canada season six at number
Okay.
four. I'm not picking. I'm not dealing with five. I don't know how you're gonna go in your choices. I think Canada season again. We're not at the. We haven't ended it, so maybe on
It could fuck
reflection,
it
this could
up.
change.
Exactly.
Um, or it could go higher. But at this point, I based on some of the queens they've sent home and how they've done this season, I think it's a really fun season. I think it's way better than last year. I just think the three seasons I'm going to pick ahead of it are just substantially better. But I think it's been a nice comeback for Canada. I thought they did a great job in casting. They've this is not. I think the difference between my top four and my five and six is like a gulf, and
Holy,
the top four
holy.
are great. So for Canada fans or anyone, Trevor Boris, anyone listening, the producer of Canada's Choice, it's fourth isn't a bad place here. Like this is a top four. You made the top four.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Absolutely.
Um, I do miss. I will say I still don't understand why they've never explained why Brad Goreski isn't there. It seems weird since the Queens have brought it up. But I do think Carson's done a great job, and they've killed the season. What is your number four? I think I know what it is, and I think it's gonna make me sad.
Yeah, I know, and it's probably the same. Slaysian Royale just sucked ass. I hated it. It was
Ah,
terrible. I'm so kidding. My number 4 is España season 5, and at the end of the day, it's the kind of thing where it's like it's still a great season. España is still one of the top 3 franchises that is not the U.S. franchise that is out there. Let's be real. For me, it just comes down to casting. I just didn't like the majority of the queens on this season. Like, I hate
wow.
to say it, like it's the thing where the challenges still felt fresh. It still felt like there was some good stuff that was happening there. It just felt like in terms of my overall enjoyment, and especially the fact that we had live finales and all of a sudden we don't have live finales anymore, just felt so strange to me. There was just a couple decisions here. I do think that the heart thing ultimately worked out in terms of changing dynamics to it. But the Crystal Forever thing, Margarita Califata, some queens that I just am not going to be as in love with as a Daphne Mugler or even a Satin Grecho at that point, and Denabella Murnau. Like it just felt such a hard line on there. But when I'm splitting hairs, because spoiler alert, my number three pick is Canada season six, which still hasn't finished on there. Again, we're splitting hairs over here. These are still quality seasons. This is still great drag race. I'm still gasping. I'm still having
Yeah.
runway shock moments. I'm still having enjoyable challenges, snatch games in another language that I'm still laughing at. Like it's still great quality TV. It's just those fucking dresses on Supreme. They're just not living up to the hype. What can I say? That's just personally me. My number four is España season five, very slightly edged out for my number three spot by Canada season six.
So my number three is España season five.
I figured.
I think you the love the quality of the runways, the quality of the performances, of how they do either musicals or talent shows.
Hmm.
I think it's just no offense to Canada, it's at another level.
Hmm.
I just think it's as a production is just Canada is a pro. It's a Canadian
Hmm.
Emmy, whatever it's called, the Actors Award, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Like they've won a ton of those, but it is España and one other franchise are working on a levels that even US sometimes isn't working on. Um, I also think I outside of there are a couple queens I did not enjoy on this season. I actually thought overall it was a better cast than season um
Four?
four.
Hmm.
So and I there's a number I mean I love La Coco and I love La Nina. But I yeah. I do. I just think the iconic moments to me pop more from España than they do from Canada when I'm like 4 months from
Thinking about
now
it.
thinking about the
Yeah.
seasons. And maybe it's a slight. I don't even think it's a bias, but I will say Supreme's runways. And by the way, I feel bad. We were like really harping on this, but like because I
But
feel like
they're
she was
bad. I'm
but
sorry.
I
It's
think
like I
she
don't know what
was
else to
going
say.
through a
Yeah.
physical thing. I think like her body, there was something going on, something with her body. She was uncomfortable. Like you could just tell.
Yeah.
But also like Anna Locking, like the greatest like permanent judge of any franchise, in my
Hmm.
opinion. Sorry, Michelle. Like it's just true. Um,
Yeah.
and they had iconic guest judges, and the lip syncs are just there's almost never a weak or bad lip sync. It's just top tier to me, and I still love the season. Also, I will say because I brought it up when we were covering it. I really think they didn't do the live finales because they taped that one, and the lip syncs were so good between Satine. They just didn't want to like why ruin it and why spoil like they had that great moment of La Satine with the upside down crown. Like they had so much there. They sort of felt like they didn't. I'm hoping for the next Spain season they go back to a live finale. I don't think it was about cost because they're going to do another All Stars. They're going to do another season. They're invested in the show. I really think it was just they taped this before they did that live finale. It's complicated for people listening, and I just think they just said, let's just keep it. Um, but anyway, that's my number three. And your number three is Canada. Would you like to reflect any more on your love for Canada season six or season five?
Just great queens, just great fucking queens. And again, Canada will always be the leader on innovative challenges. How can I will ever forget the episode when they split the design challenge and snatch game into two? Like such a stupid, insane move. They made it work. The reading battles are great. Like there's just so much fun stuff going on there. And the fact that we're getting yet again another edition of Design a Look, except it's going to be specifically worn by Brooke. Like I just stuff like that is just so fun and just so innovative. I think it's a great group of queens that they have overall this year, and we'll see how it works out. I'm just very excited for it. The real question, Greg, is of our remaining seasons,
Yeah.
which all stars did you put at number two and number one? Do you want to go first? Should I go first? How do you feel?
I'm gonna go first because I think my guess is we don't agree. So, I have to, so this was really, really tough.
This is
Uh,
tough.
this was
Splitting
tough,
hairs.
but the more I thought about it, it was a little less tough. So, my number two. By the way, an incredible season, utterly incredible. Any of our fans who love us and have watched our YouTube videos or listened to the podcast know we love this season. My number two is Slaysian Royale, and the reason it's number two is for a couple reasons. The first is uh, inherently they cast a bunch of queens at the beginning of the season that they knew were going to be super weak against the Filipino queens. That was
Yep.
a choice. That's a production choice. I
Yep.
think it made it less competitive than it could have been in the first half of the season. That was just my take. It didn't ever feel like the stakes were that high, except for a couple Filipino queens battling it out. And Bernie had a rough run, but the other three were like, far like you never worried about them, and there needed to be more suspense for me. Also, again, it takes Mama Pow a couple episodes to get going, like to really go. And again, I do think that some of the queens they had just didn't the non-Filipino queens were a little too C-list, like for what they needed. And I think maybe the next time around it'll be better. Also, I think you could tell that, especially in those first couple episodes, because the Filipino queens were asked to speak more English than they had on their previous season, that there was a little like it was a little awkward at times, and
Hmm.
it did feel as though, and we talked about this, that the Filipino queens were not thrilled they weren't getting their own All Stars, and that they were in basically a versus. That being said, it's a great freaking season. Venus is incredible. Kiana has one of the most insane, almost heartbreaking runs of any queen, like starts at the top, dominating, and then
100%.
just sort of falls apart in a way that's like she didn't hurt herself or anything, and she didn't have a mental breakdown. It's just sad. There's great parts. We talked about it. Siam Phusri sort of having this redemption. Yuha showing that she's a really great queen and should have been on US All Stars. Like even if she'd only been for a couple episodes, like she makes it super far. Even Ivory Glaze gets a tiny, tiny, tiny mini redemption, sort of, not really. And then you get to the end and you're like, but wait, why did Venus not win? Like Briganding's great, but like, what am I missing? Remember we talked about that episode. Like it didn't
Hmm.
feel like they
Yes, we
really
did.
wanted Briganding to win. And I was a Briganding stan for her first season. I thought she was like bullied by the other queens, and the whole arc about her narrative on this, like, oh, I did not understand. But it's still an amazing season. In that moment for Jiggly, like I again will never forget. They're all crying
Hmm.
on like that's great television. It just wasn't my number one, and explain my number one later. But how about you? What was your number two?
So it's like I understand where you're coming from with a lot of that, and the thing is that I still have a lot of affection for Slaysian Royale. I fully agree with you. The pick of having a bunch of earlier out queens for the international teams made it difficult for the rest of the competition. And like you can very clearly see the international versus Pinoy alliances just break down pretty quickly over there. Suki was good because she was very quickly adopted and accepted as kind of one of their own to a degree. So it did make the thing a little bit uneven. And it still was great runways. It was still fun challenges. And again, it was some of my favorite kinds of challenges, which is like the ones that are so deeply embedded into the culture to know what an overseas Filipino worker is, to know what the
Yeah,
the cacao leaves and how they play into it. Those are my favorite kind of thing because that's what I want out of an international franchise is to have that. But most importantly, you also have these redemptive moments too of queens that are just like who didn't do as well. To have these outcomes, to have Venus Deluxe, as you said, with the best redemption, our best redemption winner, to come through and have what she had to just absolutely knock it out of the park. But for that reason, like I got to be honest, it's also my number two, Greg, because the best season that came out
oh,
in 2025 was France All Stars, baby.
it was.
One fucking ellipse makeover runway faux pas aside.
Yes.
How can you not love? What did France All Stars give us, Greg? It gave us everything you want out of it, All Stars, because number one, it gave you queens who didn't have as good of runways or
Hmm.
as good of runs on their first seasons knock it out of the park. Mami Watta had never lip sync and never won a challenge. Ugh. Look at fucking Elipse, who had such an early out on her run. Can Hugh. All of these queens came back as just megaton super forces. Meanwhile, you had queens that you're just like, oh, well, that's going to be competition. So to Muse, she had other stuff going on, but she was out pretty early. Like, it was just,
Yeah.
there were so many shocking like outs that just happened that just kind of took it out. But it's again, that's the kind of drama that you want out of an all-star season, like that's the thing. And I don't know, I just had such a great time. It felt like every runway was great. It felt like every cameo appearance from Paloma, who just practically lived on set there. To have Punani go out in eighth place was just still
Wow.
such an insane thing
Yeah.
to me. But like, I can't argue that Cam Hugh did what she did, and Moon was incredible, and Peach was just a runway guy. Like all of it just made so much perfect sense. If the only true like victim I feel out of all this was Magnetica, like,
Yeah.
girl, I loved you so much, you deserve so much better. But at the same time, like you're operating against top tier. I felt like while Slaysian Royale definitely felt like there was a divide in the cast. It felt like everyone came to
Oh,
France
yes.
bringing their top tier shit, and it worked. And like I just there was not a weak casting in the bunch. It just felt like it was all the fan favorites you wanted in one place. I can't say enough good things about it. It just felt incredible. I think the only thing that was missing was Sarah Forever, but I think, as we discussed, may not have been her cup of tea. But would it have changed anything? No, I had a great fucking
No.
time with everything that went out there. I think, and I'll be fully candid with you, Greg, if Elipse had won, I might have changed my opinion a little bit. It definitely would have felt like, especially after that makeover challenge win, it may have felt like there was a little bit of production chicanery going on, but she fucking didn't, and so I feel pretty okay
I
with how
feel
things
like she
worked
would have
out.
had to win another challenge for them to even be able to justify it,
Right.
but I could be
Uh-huh.
wrong. I will also say because I was not a huge, I was sort of indifferent to her on her season. Even Misty Phoenix had a huge glow up, like, and I give her
100%.
so much credit. She was great in that snatch game. That like, and also like all the comedy challenges were like pretty great. Like there was so few bumps outside of we keep saying it that one makeover moment, but great lip syncs, great Marion Cotillard as a guest judge. Like
Girl,
it
come
is it's
on.
like
The best substance runways that we had seen
yes.
all season, FYI. Right, exactly.
And by the way, also
Phew.
like another amazing live finale that like was compelling and beautifully shot and like great lip syncs and incredible runways. Like there's also Slaysian Royale has this too, but there's an energy to Drag Race France that is just sort of euphoric, like in every episode, even when things get serious. And it sort of blew me. And they survived Kitty Smile moving on. Um, without, by the way, they barely had, the season was so good, it did not become a story. Like, it didn't
Right.
become anything. And I think that is what's so amazing. And again, this is why Nikki, you're like, top tier host, like to pull this off week after week after week, they just kill it. And I almost don't I sometimes wonder. I know for a fact I have a friend who is a All Stars producer who does not watch their show, the international shows, and I'm sort of like, dude, why are you not? I do not want to see them blowing you out of the water. Like
Right.
it's just it's so good. And I have to say, like I do feel like, we've talked about Drag Race France season two being one of the greatest Drag Race seasons of all time. This is in the top 15. Like we'd have to rejudge everything.
Unquestionably.
Like
Unquestionably. Yeah.
you have to go back and look at everything and like time, but also like affects like how certain things look. Sometimes seasons look better now than they did then. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think of like I think of Drag Race season 9 as probably being better now than I thought it was at the moment. Um, but I just think it's amazing, and I always get excited for España, and I do get excited for Philippines, but I am always like pins and needles for France. I can't say. And I do can't wait for them to do another All Stars, and I do hope Cookie Cunty comes back for that. That's my
To give you the drama, mama.
the
Right.
drama. And no
Yeah.
Leona Winner, please. We know no more Leona Winner. Don't need to go down that road. But that gives us to our leads us to our final category, the best crowned queen of
Hmm.
2025. In theory, the Queen of Queens
The
of
Queen of
2025.
Queens, as it
Um,
were.
do you want to go in order or just pick a winner? Do we want to not disrespect?
I thought we'd pick a winner personally.
Okay, let's just do
That's just
that.
kind of, yeah. That with that said, I do want to shout out an honorable mention to King Molasses from King of Drag. I recommended that early on in the season. It's on Reverie, a network I barely even heard of on here. It's a free
Mm.
streaming app. King of Drag is fantastic. Actually, my husband, his sister, so we're just like we know how much you love alternative kind of stuff, but you've never gotten into Drag Race. And so we've told her, and she'd been listening to this podcast
Yeah.
without actually having watched any of the episodes. She just liked hearing us talk passionately about what we do. And I don't know if you know this about me and Greg. We always talk passionately about what we do. We recommended King of Drag. Like, you have to see it. You have to see it. You have to see it. She did. Instant turn on. And now has watched every US season, has now watched the first couple Canadian seasons, the first couple UK seasons, has now watched France and has now watched España, and like is just in it, is just in the world right now. So
Wow.
it was the King of Drag was the thing that unlocked it. When we talk about, yeah, we saw Charles Galen King performing at Precinct, they're like, oh my god, that's incredible. Like it is incredible. So King of Drag, quick shout out to you. You're a tiny little thing, but my god, you're fantastic. And that Lisa Renna final appearance on the judging panel, fantastic. But Greg, we have between us Satin Grecho. We have Bones. We have Rubinox. We have Mami Watta. We have Brigading. Technically, if you want to count it, we have the Virgo Queen, friend of the pod. We have all these people here. Who is your Queen of Queens?
I'm gonna make a big bet, Evan, and I'm gonna guess that my Queen of Queens is also your Queen of Queens.
I have a feeling.
She's actually one of, I think, probably one of the greatest winners of all time. Um, and I am no doubt talking about Ruby Knox. No, I'm kidding. Ruby, you're a great queen,
Could
but
you
no, not you.
imagine? Could you
It
imagine?
is. She had an amazing run and just euphoric and full of joy and so talented and took a jump like of epic proportions and the confidence just so great. It's the one and only Mami Watta from Drag Race France All Stars. Perhaps one of the, to be honest, one of the greatest All Stars winners of any All Stars because sometimes All Stars winners sort of get it like, oh, we didn't get it last time, so we're gonna make sure you get it this time around. So up there with like Alaska and I mean Jimbo's a great All Stars winner. But yeah, I just thought like just fantastic. What did you think?
So I got to be honest, sometimes when we talk about the finale, the interpretation, whenever it comes down to the tops and bottoms of the queens, Nikki always says, sometimes we agree and in other times we diverge. And in this case, oh, of course we fucking agree, baby. Of course it's Mommy Watt. Like Mommy Watt, I don't think anybody understands. She was good on her original France season. The problem is
Yeah,
that Sarah Forever and fucking Kiona were
yeah,
right there and they were fighting so fucking hard.
it
And
was tough.
Kiona absolutely destroyed it. And it's the kind of thing where when you have a queen of color on a, like multiple queens of color on a season, unfortunately, you listen, this is Drag Race. It's predominantly white. Let's just speak facts here on here. And there's a
Hmm.
small degree where it felt like Mami Wata was a little bit in Kiona's shadow, just by comparison's sake alone, which is not the fairest thing in the world. She was a very good queen. She just didn't stand out. She didn't have that charisma, that unique thing that made her step out from the rest of the girls, truth be told. But she never lip synced. She made it to the top four. She was fantastic. She was not going to let that fucking happen this time. Hands down, the best runway package. I don't want to say necessarily of all time. I don't think that's correct, but I think it has to at least be in consideration. When I provided Greg a bunch of links to some of the looks for like who we were
Oh
going to have
yeah.
for best runway, three of them were Mami Wata. She was just fucking destroying it. Like the scalped heads look that she had,
Hmm.
the African Queen look, the bizarro circus look with all the multiple hands coming out as she's riding the tricycle. Like her mind just went in so many different places. She just was incredible, and she destroyed fucking Peach in a lip sync to Yell. And the fact that then she had that finale lip sync with Elipse and still held her fucking own. And it doesn't matter how many fucking props and shit Elipse is stealing from other queens. She's got to come out here. She's got to be spraying hairspray and going just fucking wild. Like it was just incredible. Mami Watta did not have a single bad moment in that entire season. It was dominant. It was exactly what you want to see. It was a queen taking her own, and it's the kind of thing where it's like it truly feels like she is not. This is not like an apology win. This is not like,
Yeah.
you've been in the game long enough that, Ginger Minge, let's just give it to you or anything else like that. This truly feels like she earned every single win of that season. She earned it completely and totally. And I don't think anyone is ever going to sit here and deny the power of what she was able to do. Stunning, one of the best runs that we've ever seen. One of the best redemptions on here. I didn't put her for best redemption, even though she technically did have the best redemption, literally out of fucking anyone. Like she did the drag setlist thing without having to bully Sagittaria. Like it's truly incredible,
Yeah, she
how
did.
she was able to pull it out. Just stunned, just absolutely stunned. There is no better queen that the better crowning that happened this year than that of Mami Wata. And the worst, and actually one thing I'll say, Greg, is that heading into the finale, I really wasn't sure if they were going to give it to Ellipse. I really wasn't sure. The thing is, we were down to that final moment, and it was just that thing where after we've seen so much stuff with the production, like we just weren't sure.
Yeah.
The fact that the production held us in that level of suspense so good, and like I remember when the crowning actually happened, me and my husband, we just cheered. We were just so happy. I've never been so
Yeah.
happy for anyone. And and hey, by the way, for more on that, check out our interview that I
Yeah.
did with her earlier this year, shortly after her win. That happened right here at Worldwide T. And that's not the reason why, but it was just an added bonus to what was just an incredible run.
And I'll just say because you brought it up, you made it. I don't even think you realized you made this great point. Is Mommy Water was so good that Ellipse thought in her own head she needed all these tricks to beat
Hmm.
her in a lip sync. She
Hmm.
thought the only way she could win because Mommy Water was so fantastic was if she tried all these stunts. That tells you how great she was in her run in her season, and that's what she was just amazing. It was so great. So, to
Hmm.
be honest, it's been a horrible year for the world, but for
Yes.
Drag Race, it's been pretty good. It's been a pretty good year.
Yeah,
Outside
absolutely.
of the
It's
US seasons.
It is weird because I also feel like this might probably be, as long as you and I keep doing this, because I don't know about you, Greg. I enjoy talking about
Oh
drag
my
with
God, I
you
love
every
it.
single week. It's always a delight. And you know what, we might have a little bit of a break in between seasons. I don't know, but
Yeah.
overall, we're gonna keep doing it. I do have a feeling that we covered 6 seasons this year. I think next year we're gonna have a lot more potentially.
I
We
think
might
we're gonna have
have.
7. I
Okay.
think we have 7.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be 7. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be 8, but I think it's gonna be 7. We'll see.
We're getting ready. We're gearing up for it. It's gonna be
Listen,
great.
if you want us to freaking cover these US seasons, you gotta tell us. We need the
Hmm.
streams. If not, we're not gonna do
Absolutely.
it. No, no,
Yeah.
no.
And by the way, I just want to briefly shout out one last thing before we end this year over here. To the publicists who've been out and helping us,
Yeah.
allowing us to interview incredible people like Kyron Thrax, like Lazy Susan, like Ruby Knox, like the Virgo Queen, like I mean literally everyone, Mommy fucking Wada, all of the season 18 girls, so many of the season 17 girls. Like all of this has happened right here. Like these interviews aren't anywhere else. We are so blessed and lucky and honored. So we appreciate the trust to all the queens who've been in our comments over here. Again, Greg and I have said this once, we've said it 1,000 times. We're not getting paid to do this shit. We're doing this out of the sheer love of it. We've done all of this together. I wrote the goddamn theme music. Like all of it is stuff that we put together ourselves. And so this is truly a labor of love. So anyone who's been along for our journey, any of our tons of listeners who listen to us on their commute, on their drive, who do that thing and actually leave the ratings for us in the Spotify and the Apple so that there's better visibility for it. Thank you. It's nice to know that our rants and raves aren't going into a void. We are very appreciative of you as an audience, and we hope you stick around for us as long as you want to, because we're gonna still be here.
We're gonna be here. Thank you
Yeah.
guys so much. And again, thoughts on this episode. If you're watching on YouTube, leave us comments down below.
Van Gogh, what are
We're
you most upset you didn't get nominated for?
but it is a Sunday and I gotta go. So
He's got to
we
go.
are good. So thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next time.
All right. Have a happy new year, everybody. Take care. Goodbye.